that do for your group?
It's huge from the standpoint of guys that obviously have had a ton of experience here and a lot of success. And so guys can look at them and they can watch them and understand what it takes as far as the standards that they set on a daily basis, whether it's in the meeting room, the weight room, and obviously between the lines when we get out there and start playing ball. But it also helps me from the standpoint of I can lean on those guys in a lot of different ways. We can find new ways to help them grow, which is always something that regardless of how many years or no matter how long guys have played here, if they're within this program, we're trying to help them grow. And so those two guys are trying to grow just as much as our youngest guy on our roster, right? And so it's been a lot of fun. I'm very fortunate and blessed to have those two guys in the room to help me establish this group and help the overall team get where we want to get to.
JL, I mean, I know he had a decision to make, and that was obviously, I'm sure you were involved in that. What just how he approached that decision, what the research he did, whatever, just from your perspective for how he went through that and then his decision to come back, you know, what in terms of his goals and what that could do for his future moving forward. How do you look big picture at JL and, you know, what this year could be like for him?
Mm-hmm. You know, when it's all said and done, JL wants to help this team get where it wants to get to. And I think that was such a big part of why he wants to be here, is to help this family grow and to help this team achieve what he knows this team can achieve. And in the process of doing that, he also, from an individual standpoint, is going to take steps that he feels like he needs to take in order for him to continue to grow. And we're going to work our process and continue to develop him in a number of different ways because, again, we're never satisfied. He's never satisfied as the competitor that he is as far as what he can do from a player standpoint, but more importantly, what he can continue to grow is from a man standpoint. I know that's what JL is all about, and it's been a lot of fun working with him in that regard.
What about with Tyreek? Obviously, another guy that, you know, could have gone on, had the COVID year left, wanted to come back. We saw that senior night, the scoop and score and stuff. I mean, what just for him, we see him as a potential game changer player too. Just what's the outlook on Tyreek going into the year?
And T. Jones is a guy that, man, I thought he had a really good year last year as well. Really was almost overlooked to a certain extent from the standpoint of his production and what he did for our group from a lot of different ways. And so to get him back in that leadership role as well, he's a guy that has done a tremendous job of taking some of these younger players under his wing and helping them grow as individuals from the standpoint of obviously what they're doing from a defensive backfield standpoint, but hey, how are you doing in your classwork? How are you doing just every day, how you handle being a college football athlete, which is not easy. And so T. Jones being here is a huge part of helping those guys grow. But from an individual standpoint, I know it's gonna help him as well. I know he wants the same thing where he wants to go out on a high note from a standpoint of what this team is able to do and what this team can accomplish. And that's his ultimate goal every day. What can he do to help this team grow? We
saw, you know, with Tubner, how, you know, he could be one play away from getting in there. And I guess it's kind of a catch-22. You're happy, you know, that you got the two guys that everybody knows are pretty much going to be the starters. And I was going to say, how do you keep the others motivated? But how, you know, the beyond those two, Tubner and some of the other guys, how do you look at their outlook? And obviously, it's got to be a little tough knowing that, you know, there's not going to be a ton of playing time for them. But, you know, injuries, targeting, I mean, things happen, right?
Yeah, and you hit it right on the head. Every single player within our room is one play away from being the guy. It doesn't matter if they're the youngest guy in our roster or in our room or if they're the oldest guy. Every guy's one play away. And so we've got to attack every day with that purpose, with that sense in mind as far as, hey, I'm gonna continue to compete to be the best I can be from an individual standpoint, which in turn is going to help our group be the best they can be, and in turn is going to help our team be the best they can be. And so as long as we come in every day with that, just compete, continue to grow, everybody grows as an individual and as a unit, we're going to be better off for it. And we've got some guys that I think are in position to really take steps. You know, Shea Oladipo played a lot in special teams, did a lot of things from a defense standpoint when T. Jones, when we needed him to, when he had to step in that role. So we're looking for him to step up as far as his role. We're looking for Zion Washington, another young guy that's got an opportunity this spring. So that's what I love about spring ball, is you've got opportunities for everybody within our room, within every single position group room that's going to have a chance to go out there and compete and show us how they can improve their role.
So who's working with the nickels then?
Right now, we're bottom line, we're going to go out there in spring ball. We're going to throw a lot of different guys out there.
But I mean coaching-wise. Are you the nickels coach?
Yeah,
okay.
Myself and...
Okay, so how does the outlook for that position?
Yeah, Yeah, so obviously when you lose a guy like Kane Ioane, you lose a lot, when it comes to it, from just his experience, his playmaking ability, and more importantly with him is just his leadership. The value that he brought in that regard was so huge and so impactful for myself and for our entire group. And so we'll miss him, there's no question about it, but we've got some guys that Kikal over the course of his years has helped groom and grow since he's been here, and the other two older guys, T. Jones and J.L. Skinner, also are going to help guys within that room to help grow in that position. So we've got a number of guys that we're looking at over the course of spring to compete and get a chance to play that position, because as we all know in today's game, you got to have a lot of defensive backs on the backfield the majority of the time. And so we need every one of our group to understand that, hey, our position versatility is going to help us all be the best team we can.